2 Blood Flow Connoisseur. That's really interesting. He has Isolated Chapels, Evolving Wilds, no Vault of the Archangels, which is pretty surprising. There you see Lloyd on your left, Jeremy on your right. And for those of you not familiar with Blood Flow Connoisseur, 3 mana. It is, of course, a 1/1. You can sack a creature to put a counter on it. So, definitely good with his token theme, but there's a reason he only has 2. It's not very good unless you've drawn a lot of token-making cards. 4 Tragic Slip, 2 Day of Judgment main deck, and Oblivion Ring, so he has a lot of versatile removal. He should be able to not fold to Restoration Angels like a lot of the creature decks seem to do. I'm sure that Day of Judgment will catch Lloyd by surprise. Now, Lloyd does have some game, though, because he can do things like Phantasmal Image Blood Artist, which is a pretty big deal. Here we go. Looks like Jeremy won the roll, led with Plains, and Lloyd countered with Seachrome Coast Delver. Isolated Chapel for Lloyd, and Tragic Slip on the Delver. Lloyd bluffs the Mental Misstep, chooses not to use the it that doesn't exist. Untaps and draws, and plays a Ponder. Gutshot, Delver, and I think that was a 3rd Delver. And if my opponent played Plains Isolated Chapel and a Tragic Slip, I would probably put him more on a Solar Flare deck than a Tokens deck. But the jig's going to be up pretty soon when that first Lingering Souls or Midnight Haunting comes out. Or Gather the Townsfolk, as it may be. So 2 1/1 humans into play for Jeremy. And we'll see what that top card was, if it was actually a Delver on top of his deck. If it is, it won't flip. But it was a Gutshot.
Not terrible.
Gutshot, not the best against the token deck. But if it can
3/2 flyer, though.
Yeah, 3/2 flyer's all right against the token deck. Comes in for 3. The life total is 20 for Lloyd, 17 for Jeremy. And wow, ships the turn, no 3rd land. I'm not sure about his decision to keep those cards with his Ponder. Sure, it had an instant, but he had to know that he wasn't going to make his 3rd land drop. I'm curious as to what his hand is.
See 2 mana. Is it going to be a Gather? Nope. Looks like...
Oh, no, I think that is a Gather.
Yep, there it is.
So 2 more tokens for Jeremy, and he would love an Intangible Virtue right now. Blood Artist would be fine, too.
And we see our first Gutshot.
So 1 token down.
And Snappy Blood... Snappy into that as well.
So
both of these players are 5-0 right now. And we see 5 damage coming on in.
Yep, so Lloyd...
Another Delver.
Trying to race back, but I'm not sure how effective this is going to be. He just brought himself to 13 to kill 2 tokens.
I see an Honor in Jeremy's hand now. Land. Maybe I didn't see an Honor. It looked like an Honor to me.
I don't think this deck plays Honor of the Pure. That was the one thing that I saw that really surprised me about this deck.
I must have missaw it. It looked like an Honor to me.
That might have been that funky Plains on the left.
That is pretty funky.
There's one thing it is, it's funky.
Delver does not flip. We see the Doomed Traveler hanging back.
Yeah, and Jeremy will be more than happy to trade that Doomed Traveler for a Snapcaster.
Dead Snappy. Take 3, go to 9.
1/1 Spirit for Jeremy. And draws a Moorland Taunt.
Are we going to see a Blade Splicer?
Ooh,
Sword. That's a dangerous card.
Yeah, against Jeremy's deck, he has 4 Tragic Slips, one of which he's already used. He has 2 Day of Judgment and 1 O-Ring. And that is it. After board, he gets a lot more tools to fight that sword, but game 1, he has to have one of his very few spells to deal with it.
Evolving Wilds drop into play. In come the 2 ground pounders. Soldier, soldier.
Lloyd drops to 9. And it looks like Jeremy Doom Traveler, 1 card left in hand.
Judge to the stage, please.
He'll say go.
Wow. 1 card in hand. Oh.
And Delver flips.
This could be a threaten for the kill if Jeremy does not have an instant in his hand. But that's not true, actually. He needs to have a Vapor Snagged because of that 1 token. So first, let's see what you got. It's a Tragic Slip.
It is a Tragic Slip.
I see a Gut Shot in Lloyd's hand.
Morbid, though, importantly, not enabled on that Tragic Slip.
I think we're just going to see the sword activated on a Delver here. It won't be blockable. We'll, that land drop, maybe, let's see. Equip. Yep, equip. In for 5+1 damage, potentially.
Yep, threatening lethal for the next turn. Lloyd looks like we'll gain 3 life. Yeah, definitely should have not played the land first if he was going to attack.
Yeah. Oh, what's coming else? I mean, a Vapor Snag does... Oh, there's a snag.
Okay.
Now remember, that does not trigger the Morbid.
No, it doesn't. Jeremy, though, does drop to 8, and he will have to use that Tragic Slip. He'll just have to burn it, killing
nothing.
Probably his own Doom Traveler.
No, he can just do minus... He has to do -1/-1 to one of the opponent creatures, or he dies just to the damage. Oh, actually, you're right, though. He can kill his own Doom Traveler, get a 1/1, and get a little bit more blocking out of it. You're right.
He can block. I don't know if that's the right play. I don't know what he can draw right now, actually. I guess only a Day of Judgment.
And there is the Gut Shot. You're right, though, that he could Tragic Slip his own Doom Traveler, have a blocker, be at a little bit more life.
Yeah, I think he still would have lost that game unless he went running perfect. Something like Day of Judgment into Entreat the Angels, but he would have had a chance. So looking at sideboarding, what does Lloyd Kurth have here?
Please come up to the stage.
It looks like he has a very similar to the Jerry sideboard. I expect we're going to see Ratchet Bombs coming in. He is playing against a token deck, and as a result, Ratchet Bomb is very, very good in that matchup. Oblivion Ring I like as a card to bring in because you can use it to get rid of a expected card like Honor the Pure, which is not in this list, or for that matter, though, Intangible Virtue, or even Sorin. So I think Oblivion Ring is very likely to see coming in. And
how about the Timely
I was
reinforcements?
going to say, Timely is very reasonable.
Yeah, doesn't really play very well with his Ratchet Bombs, but I don't think it needs to. I
No,
think the card is just so powerful that...
Well, I mean, all you really need to do if you're Lloyd is get to the position where you've got your slower parts of your deck actually coming through, which is a Restoration Angel and weaponry like swords. And I would not be surprised by Sun Titan and Sphinx as cards that are taking care of some action too. Sun Titan and Sphinx both get job done of putting away a game where it's stable.
Right.
Once the game is stable, then they can both put it away.
Looking at Jeremy's sideboard, what are you thinking for that?
Okay. Well, with Jeremy, one of the things that he's going to probably want to do is bring in Go for the Throat. Go for the Throat, very, very good answer, not only to cards like Restoration Angel, but also if he has been paying attention to the metagame and seeing that people are trying to go over the top in a lot of these games, the use of Go for the Throat to stop whether it's a Sun Titan or a Consecrated Sphinx, but especially a Consecrated Sphinx, is really a big deal. And he just got kind of torn up by a sword. These days, it's actually pretty uncommon to see only one sword, which is the exact number that Lloyd Kurth is running. But you can often expect to see 2 swords. And so I would expect to find at least some answer to that, so maybe some combination of Oblivion Ring and Revoke Existence would be what he would go for from there. And in terms of his cards that are not as good, I mean, there's a real weird question with Day of Judgment, whether or not it does a lot of work or not. I might just take out the Bloodflow Connoisseurs. Even though this is a Blood Artist deck, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the Bloodflow serves as a fireball, but it's probably not going to get through between cards like Vapor Snag and Blade Splicer as a potential blocker. So I think that's kind of where things go, and we're going to see them after sideboard now with Jeremy Mulldane on the play. Jeremy on the right, Lloyd on the left. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Zach Hall. This is the 6th round of Standard here at the Star City Games Open Series in Worcester, Massachusetts. Plains from Jeremy Mulldane. Probe shows Swamp, Plains, Swamp, and Dismember. I can't actually see those cards in the center. I think there's an Angel. No, it can't be an Angel. I cannot quite see them. Okay. I didn't quite catch them. I think one of them might have been a Blood Artist, and the other two white spells couldn't quite make out. Delver from Lloyd Kurth. I know that I couldn't quite see them from the probe. Could you see exactly what those cards were?
No idea.
Okay. And that is the Blood Artist. That might have been one of the cards I couldn't quite make out.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the black cards really blend together, especially the last few blocks. Those are the cards I have the hardest time telling.
Another land. Seachrome versus Swamp Plains. Another Swamp.
And it looks like Jeremy does have a Doom Traveler here. Not exactly the start he was looking for. I think he'd rather have his token producers out first.
Turn 3 Doomed Traveler, not great.
No, not strong.
Is that weird Plains in his top of his hand?
I think so.
Or was it an intangible virtue?
So Jeremy doesn't offer the trade of Blood Artist for the Delver. Maybe now he's wishing he did.
There's the Timely. There's a Blood Artist, a Doomed Traveler, 6 life, and 3 soldiers for Lloyd.
How about that? 1 less creature, 1 less life. What do you think of the design of Timely Reinforcements?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I'm going to tell you that having been a player who was running red when that card was printed, I definitely wept some crocodile tears, but... you know, yeah, it's a good card. It's a very well-designed card. And I have... Oh, what do we got? Soren?
Day of Judgment.
Wow. That is... Oh,
trigger Blood Artist 6 times.
That is crazy.
How's that for anti-timely reinforcement technology?
Wow.
So, you know, I at first I questioned the inclusion of Day of Judgment in this deck, but I'm sold right there.
And he gets his token.
Like you said, there are a lot of creatures in this format right now. Most of the decks are creature decks. And he gets a 1/1 from Doom Traveler, too.
And we got 4 mana, perhaps holding back an Angel.
Oh, just maybe. And if not an Angel, a Moorland Haunt token.
I think I see a Tragic Slip in hand for Jeremy Mulldane, just drawn. Yeah, that's an intangible virtue. In for 2. I believe that's not tapped.
It is not tapped, but it does not matter.
And Vapor Snag takes care of the 2/2 flyer.
Yep, Jeremy drops to 21. And
says go.
Say go.
3 mana makes a spirit.
Yeah,
the spirit of this poor, dearly departed Delver of Secrets.
Yep. Jeremy's 2 cards are Tragic Slip, and
Jeremy tragicked it.
Okay.
We just need one more person before
Interesting use of the Tragic Slip. I think he could have held off on that for a little bit.
Legacy Challenge. So if you're interested, make sure that you make your way
At 22 life, if you draw something like another Tragic Slip, you can take out a pair of bigger creatures.
Snapcaster, showing its value in a longer game by pulling a little card here, a little card there.
Yep.
Response, slip. Wow. Down the stairs. And here's what you get to see. What did he reveal to the probe? I didn't quite catch it.
I don't know what that card is. Maybe that was an Entreat the Angels? I don't think so, though.
He flashed it very quickly.
That's the only card I
think you're right.
It could be an alternate art on some other card.
In for 1, down to 20 for Jeremy Mulldane.
No tragic slips to use on that.
Look at all that flooding there.
Yeah, Lloyd is seemingly out of gas.
Now, if that is an Entreat the Angels, then we're looking at an Entreat for 1 currently. 1 more mana and he can Entreat for 2.
Yeah. Have to imagine he'll go for that if he draws another land. I see no reason to wait around for 2 more lands.
And we see a Ponder showing Island. Was that Island?
Island.
Different art.
Well, we'll shuffle those up. And I would say he's due for a non-island card right now.
Well, I mean,
that's how
are
that
you
works,
ever due?
after all. That's how that works. He draws a white spell. Not sure what that was. In for 1, goes to 19.
And we see an artist.
Yep, not that impressive turn 8. And Lloyd will Thought Scour himself, milling Snapcaster and land. And he'll remove that Snapcaster to the Haunt, making another flyer. In for 2 comes Lloyd, dropping Jeremy to 17 life. And right now the player's in a strange standstill. Lloyd just slowly building up his hand while Jeremy just tries to draw anything. Lloyd with 2 mana leaks, so that Entreat the Angels will not be resolving.
Blade Splicer.
If you're just joining us, I'm Zach Hall, joined by Adrian Sullivan here. We're coming to you live from round 6 of Star City Open Worcester. These players are both 5-0 and are battling to move to 6-0 right now. Lloyd is up a game. Two mana, another Blood Artist.
Wow.
So Lloyd sort of has to be careful with 2 Blood Artists on the table, doesn't he?
It's actually really crazy what can happen if something like a Day of Judgment goes off.
Yeah.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 life would get sucked away.
Yeah, I mean,
that's just currently.
If Jeremy draws something like a Timely Reinforcements, all of a sudden that's lethal. Tragic Slip's a Spirit token. Now, I can't help but wonder if Jeremy had saved that Tragic Slip, Lloyd would be at 2 less life right now. Jeremy might be at a couple less as well, but... Oh, okay, Gut Shot on the Blood Artist.
Well, that's 2 life for Jeremy, as long as he remembers.
Yeah.
These days, with the weird ways that the rules work, you have to remember.
Yeah, they've been making a lot of changes to that recently. It seems like Cavern of Souls has really sparked a change in how they interpret the rules. There was a large announcement from Jared Silva about that before the tournament even started. So another Blade Splicer for Lloyd, and Jeremy now can finally Entreat for 2 Angels, but that's going to get mana leaked.
I mean, you can't just sit there forever, right? Don't you just cast it?
I think so. I think you have to cast it.
If you cast it for 1, then it can just be Vapor Snag, so you kind of have to cast it for 2 and just get that mana leak out of there.
Jeremy just says go. See, if he casts it for 2 Angels right now and it gets mana leaked, well, the next turn he can still draw another Entreat.
Yeah.
This way, yeah, he's on a shorter clock than he realizes, I think. Ooh,
and
wow.
An image on Splicer. Look at all that damage. That's a lot of damage.
It is. Now Jeremy has to cast this Entreat. Sure, it'll eat a mana leak.
It's going to be too late. That looks like another artist, maybe?
I think it is.
Doesn't do very much.
No, too little, too late. Jeremy just really drew the wrong half of his deck here.
I mean, I think he's going to have to cast Entreat for 1. He can do it for 1. Oh, why are you passing?
Well, either way, would have gotten mana leaked, and Lloyd will still swing in for the victory here. And all the creatures get turned sideways. Jeremy left with no other options but to chump block and still die.
Well, he's going to gain 4 life first before damage.
Oh, first strike. That's right, too.
Yeah, the
That's
first
right,
strike
too.
does do that.
Yep.
And then is he alive still? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He will still be alive. And now whatever he does is not good enough. There we are.
There's the handshake.
Now let's pretend he had cast that Entreat. The Entreat would have pulled out one of the mana leaks, and then if he draws a Day of Judgment, which he clearly still has
Yep.
in his deck, there's only 1 mana leak to stop it, and
Exactly.
he's still around. Remember, you are on a clock, so you've got to play with that awareness in mind.
And, you know, especially when you're playing against Delver, you're often on a way faster clock than you even realize.
Yeah.
It's often 1 turn faster. Sometimes even 2 turns faster. But, you know, as much as we've talked about